who puts out these reports? Like, seriously, who puts out these reports?
Oh, so you don't buy it?
Who's talking to New England? Has Bill suddenly opened up the line of communications? Hey, we're looking at Hunter Henry and A.J. Green, but don't tell anybody. Hey, come on, Nick Caserio, is he talking? Who is giving information out of New England? No, but I'm just saying it's like, could they be on New England's list? Yeah, they're both potential guys that could be on. You want to take any other name in the NFL who's a free agent, who's an offensive player, who's had a little bit of success, and put him on that list? Yeah, go ahead, and I'll put that report out there. Any offensive player who's a free agent, who's a little productive, maybe on New England's list.
Right, hold on, let me ask you this a slightly different way before I give my opinion, though, because you know Tom. You coached Tom when he first came into the league. You know more about Tom. You might not be one of his close friends in the world, but you know him better than we do. Do you think part of his decision is going to be contingent on promises we will resupply? Do you understand what I'm asking?
No.
Okay.
No.
Why not?
Because you do business one way, and it's brought you unprecedented success, and then suddenly, in the twilight of your career, you're going to ask for the business to be done differently? Like, when you get older, and when you're a guy like Tom Brady, you typically get wiser, and you appreciate the things that you have, and you appreciate the way that things work, and you may not totally enjoy how they work, but it's something that you understand is necessary to get the results that you want. So it's hard for me to even justify the idea of Tom sitting back and going, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. That's not how he's built. That's not how he's wired. And that being said, there's not just getting the talent in New England, but the talent has to fit into the system. And there's been plenty of guys that have been talented that couldn't fit in the system. Chad Johnson, a talented guy, a productive guy, it just didn't work. So there's both those elements of it come into play.
And then how realistic is it for the Patriots to go out and do this anyway?
Well, right, I think that is the best question, Jenna, because while I didn't think of it from the perspective of coach of who's leaking, I just thought of it from the very pragmatic perspective of this doesn't make any sense. First of Tom Brady would have to, the trust for this timeline to work. With the Patriots, it's very clear. One thing we know, without any leaks, is that what is best for them is to, if they're going to bring him back, do it before free agency starts. Because the moment free agency starts, $14 million in dead money hits their cap. So if you bring him back after that, you have whatever his cap charge is for this year, plus that $14 million. If you bring him back before that, that $14 million gets paid out eventually, but you can move it out over the course of his contract. So we know their ideal situation, if they're bringing him back, is to bring him back before March 14th or March 16th, the official open of free agency. So how would this work? Tommy, sign this contract, and we promise you we're going to win what is essentially an auction for A.J. Green. Okay, how do you win an auction? Anyone in this room can guarantee they can win any auction they want if they will say, well, I will pay whatever it takes. But the winner of every auction basically ever has done one thing by definition. They have overpaid because everyone else in the room said, nope, that's too much, and you kept your paddle up. What in Bill Belichick's history says he's going to overpay and guarantee to overpay, guarantee I'm going to win this auction? Nothing. One of the things that defines the Patriots is, look at their cap sheet, not a single bad contract. They are more likely to let a quality player walk away than they are to sign someone to a bad contract. So it would take Tom Brady, just relying on trust us, take it on faith, we are going to go do these things, and the Patriots to make a commitment that we've never seen them make in the past, which is...
But you're making this assumption that that's what Tom is asking for. Like that, your whole discussion is predicated on Tom walking in there and going, you need to do the following things in order for me to come back. And Tom understands that it's a team game. If you have a really good defense and really good special teams, that changes starting field position. That changes the amount of points you give. He's not sitting in the war room going, I think we need to add another slot corner. And
well, okay, fair enough. But I do think it was pretty clear he was at times frustrated last year with the lack of true professional receiving options that he had. And I also think it is very reasonable for me to say the Patriots are not going to be able to or are not going to be willing to offer Tom Brady the most years and the most money of anybody. So you're going to have to make some concessions to him in theory in other places. I just don't think these are realistic concessions to make. And I also think there is an element, Coach, where the Patriots' history says they have invested heavily in skill position guys over the last couple drafts. First-round pick on a running back, first-round pick on a wide receiver for the first time since you guys were in Cleveland, right? Derek Alexander. A second-round pick on Mohamed Sanu. Now we're going to invest even more heavily on thin, fast guys? Like, that's not... None of that has been the Patriots' history or Belichick's history that I know of.
You can go out and get a tight end.
Sure.
I mean,
I think they will prioritize tight end.
You could draft a couple of tight ends. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do. The important thing is doing what's right. And the idea that Tom is going to say what's right for me as opposed to what's right for this team, it's just not how he's wired, and it's not how that system works.
You don't think there's a possibility, though, Coach, that he thinks that in this situation they're one and the same? That he thinks what is best for the team is giving me an opportunity to be Tom Brady again. Last year, because of the lack of weapons, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate here, but last year, that I don't think it's selfish for Tom if he were to think what held us back was I'm still great. Nobody could see it because I had a bunch of kids out there. So what would be best for the team, because the defense seemingly is good every year, we've got a couple stars on defense, is to give me a legitimate number one option, a legitimate wide receiver, a replacement for Gronk, that our incentives are aligned in this situation. To me, that would be a reasonable belief for Brady to have, even if I personally don't agree with it.
But do you really think that Tom, after his wealth of experience there, is saying, I don't believe in Bill Belichick's ability to evaluate what's right for this team. I am a better evaluator of what's best for this team than Bill Belichick is. Even though I've had this experience of, 18, 19 years now. Now, at this point in my career, I'm better than him at putting together the composition of this team.
Well, I think if you're Brady, you either have to believe last year you weren't good, or last year the pieces around you weren't good.
He should worry about getting an O-line coach. That's what Tom
Oh, gosh. If only Dante Scarnecchia. Way to get him in there. Appreciate that, Coach.
Look at the track record.
Look at the track record.
Don't worry. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.